Hi there. Monarch would like me to reiterate, they do not know about any creatures buried beneath the earth. They do not have any facilities located around the planet. And the earth is not hollow. Any who suggest otherwise have already been designated for termination and interrogation, not in that order. And those who are willing to comply have already been urged to go to patreon.com/evacstation. For less than the cost of cleaning up that interrogation room I just mentioned, you can support this show and the fine people at Monarch, keeping you safe from truth. Again, go to patreon.com/evacstation. Now where the bloody didgeridoo was that Ryan guy I'm supposed to be working with?
Who are you? How? What the hell is Aaron? God damn it. Welcome to the After Credits cast, ladies and gentlemen, where I am apparently hosting this week. I'm Ryan J. Mothra, and with me I have, who are you?
Hi mate, good question. My name, Banjo Jordan. Pleasure to meet you. Monarch requested Aaron take a wee bit of forced vacation. Asked me to fill in for him. Here I am.
Fuck. Alrighty. Good to have you here, Banjo. Aaron, if you're out there, you fucking know me for this one. And if you want to reach out to us and send them a message, or maybe to save me, please, you can visit us on the links below. We're available at patreon.com, YouTube, Peepa, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Intune, and we're also on Podcast Addict. You can also contact us at whereintheworldisaaronjwasuska. Excuse me, at evacstation@gmail.com.
I believe that information is classified.
Indeed. Alrighty. Well, hopefully what's not classified is our next usual segment. We do a brief what you watching period, a brief what you watching segment. Banjo, have you been watching any non-redacted information lately? What have you been seeing?
Well, that's a good question, Ryan. See, since Monarch has asked me to come up here and help you with this, whatever you call it, show, I guess, they helped me move up here a little bit. Bit too much of a trip from us to come up here every week to do this shit with you. So I've been packing boxes, prepping for the moving day later this week. Been a heck of a time, but I've been catching up some YouTube vids. I've been checking out ready for that Pokemon Direct coming soon.
All right. Well, I know better than most the troubles of moving, so I'm glad you were able to get all squared away. And again, we'll thank you for having us here. For my particular what you watching, my loving girlfriend Allegra constantly puts me onto the oddest shit. And this week we actually watched a movie called The Treacherous, which is a Korean period piece about one of the worst rulers in Korean history, who essentially went insane and used his power to comb the lands of the kingdoms for pretty young ladies that he decided to make all his concubines. Thousands of them.
It seems to be disturbing.
It was pretty ridiculous, but you know, my girlfriend loves that shit, so hey, it's broadening my horizons.
Where would you find something like that to watch if I wanted to check it
Well, she has a couple of links to Asian movies like Korean dramas and things like that. That's where we found it. I believe it's called dramanice.com. I'll definitely I'll look into that a little more, but I'm pretty sure you can watch it there.
Gotcha. Well, that's a pretty interesting segment. You can learn all sorts of cool stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
So, why don't we jump into this next bit? I got some notes here. It says here, we're talk about a movie. Is that what we do?
Indeed. That's the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, tonight's the last episode of that Monarch is willing to release before they terminate this program. Oh, I'm not supposed to read that part. Anyway, we'll be talking about 2019's Redacted, king of the redacted.
Fuck.
I can see why Errol Aaron went screw loose in the noggin, if you know what I mean. Directed by Michael Dougherty, this film grossed a total of... Shit, no one wrote down the amount. Well, it grossed some money. I don't think it made back what it made during opening weekend. Pretty sure that's true. Cast includes Charles Dance, Thomas Middleditch, Sally Hawkins, Bradley Whitford, Z. Jane, Vera Farmiga, Kyle Chandler, Millie Bobby Brown, and the man who wants them to fight, Ken Watanabe. No awards for this film yet. Just bloody came out. Why the hell would I have awards yet? So, Ryan, why don't you handle these Monarch approved facts?
We had more facts for you, ladies and gentlemen, but a lot of this page has been redacted, so I'll be reading the stuff that I can. In this film, Monster Zero, yes, stands at 521 feet tall. That's 158.8 meters, making him 128 feet taller than Redacted, who stands at 393 feet. That's 119.8 meters. This is the largest American incarnation of that particular monster in history, and also the second largest incarnation of the monster ever, being almost 62 feet taller than Heisei's version, which stood at 460 feet. Again, that's 140 meters. Second, this is the first American-produced sequel to a redacted series film. But with the amount of care and effort that they're putting into it, I'm glad that I'm hoping to see more from them, because honestly, this was wonderful. Let's see here. Next, early designs for Classified gave him a more bird-like look with feathers, but this was scrapped for a more traditional design. Director Michael Dougherty has stated that he had a major soft spot for Classified, and prays he did justice for the character. I honestly think he did. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, this is our dear Millie Bobby Brown's film debut. Everybody, of course, knows her as the lovely Eleven from Stranger Things, with the buzz cut and the badassery and the psychic powers.
Oh yeah,
I've
seen that show. I know all about that one. Don't let's talk about that one either, though.
We can't. Jesus. Well, you guys know her. You guys love her. I think she did great in this particular film. Whatever bits of it that you could see, because a lot of it was redacted. But I think we've got some initial thoughts for the segments of movie that we were actually allowed to see, don't we, Banjo?
Oh yeah, that's right. I'll do my little bit first. You go, and then we'll jump into whatever the hell is next.
Alrighty.
I think the events of this film were absolute hogwash. None of it should be seen. But contractually speaking, I am at least here to confirm information Monarch has paid me to confirm. And to ensure that we don't have any more chickens leaving the farm, if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, I personally enjoyed what we got to see. I think the design of the redacted creatures was really, really awesome. The effects to the movie were spectacular. And I personally saw the film in IMAX, which was 100% just a great call. If you haven't seen it yet, or even if you have seen it and you just want to see it again, it is worth the second viewing in IMAX. It catches all the details, and it really brings the scale of the creatures to size. So please, it's really good and really worth it to do that.
I can't concur. I saw Star Wars once in an IMAX. It was actually pretty good then. Lot of nice special effects you could see with all the big screen and everything. Don't do a dome theater though. I've seen that one. That dome theater's bad for your neck. Fucking cricky. Anyway, with it, I believe your colleague recorded a synopsis for us to use before he was escorted off the lot.
Alright.
Let's have a listen, and we can discuss just how loony he might be.
Hello? Hello? Man, I hope this thing's recording. I'm Aaron J. Waseska, standing atop the Millennium Tower here in Boston. I've escaped Monarch's holding facility, and I don't know how long I have left. But I have to get this out before they find me. I have a friend in need that I need to help, and I'm going to expose the truth. Monarch is a secret organization having hidden dozens of monsters beneath the earth for decades. Our podcast has exposed some of their secrets, like Godzilla or that Khan fella, but they've done their work to hide this from the world. They've made it hard to find our podcast. They've made it difficult for this information to get out. Recently, however, they've had some problems. A monster got loose just a few days ago. A giant bug. I think it's one of those moonlight butterflies from Dark Souls. I don't know. It flew here just a minute ago. I'm getting ahead of myself, though. Some information was fed to global terrorists. I won't say who. It might have been me. It might not have been. I can't say. Honestly, I don't think it matters. These terrorists stole technology and a notable scientist to wake these monsters. They wanted to purge the Earth of humans using these monsters as some kind of hostile force. But they woke a monster in Antarctica that gave them a little more trouble than they thought it was going to. Pretty sure it was like the Blue Eyes White Dragon, lightning, 3 heads. It fits the bill. This dragon fought Godzilla. You know, the monster we all saw back in San Fran a little bit ago. Anyway, it fled and hid in this storm. It and then traveled up the Atlantic. The storm that we're going through right now, it's here. Then, yesterday, it was sighted in Isla de Mara, Mexico. There was a volcanic eruption, and another monster just appeared, just released out of the volcano. It was too big to be Ridley, meaning it was probably too big for Smash Bros. It chased some Monarch forces before encountering the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Godzilla appeared again before a bomb went off. We all thought the monsters had died, but the dragon just got back up and stood atop the mountain calling to other monsters around the world. Based on my research, it seemed like it was even ordering them around. All the evacuation efforts went underway, but none of us expected to actually make it out. Then just a few minutes ago, everything went down. A signal went over Fenway Park, and the monsters just showed up there. The dragon first, and then it attacked the empty park, just going crazy, I guess. But then Godzilla, somehow still alive, showed up and fought the creature, destroying most of Boston in the process. The Ridley thing showed up to the fight, but also the bug monster too, and it helped Godzilla out, which is kind of cool. It was a literal monster mash up here. Godzilla started to glow red, and then ended. Godzilla started to glow red by the end, and it just exploded, like that one new trick Superman can do in the New 52, that one that is kind of stupid. It killed the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and now all the other monsters have arrived. I think they're going to... No, they're not going to fight? I need to get out of here before... Wait, they're bowing to Godzilla? Oh, no. Listeners, I've recorded this, and I've sent it live, all over the internet, right now. You are listening to this, right now. Do not... Monarch will do everything they can to cover this up. Do not let them. Share this with as many people as you can. Get this news, this message out there. Everyone has to know. I have to go now. I think Ryan's going to need my help after this.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stop it. Damn bloody button was jammed. I know. I'll fix. What do you mean? Fine, we'll investigate. So, Ryan, it would seem that I am needed upstairs to explain to corporate exactly what happened to your friend here. I tried to talk him from executing you too, but, well, once this is over, this probably won't matter anyway. So, toodles.
Wait. You're just going to lead me down here to do this podcast alone and then kill me?
Yeah, that's about right. You seem to get it. Just don't escape, and I'll be back in 15, 20 minutes. I don't know. Just don't expose any more secrets, okay?
Oh, fuck, I need to get out of here, Jesus Christ. Why am I in a fucking bunker?
Ryan, open the vent!
Aaron, what the hell are you doing here?
I was hoping the VPN would trick them into thinking that I was still in Boston, and from the upload. Had to sneak back here and rescue you. I know exactly what to do to escape.
Okay, good, but do we finish the podcast first?
Oh, fuck yeah. We got shit to do. I'm just going to finish working on this mutagen here while we talk. Is that cool?
The muta what?
Cool. We just finished the synopsis, right? So we got a movie to talk about?
Oh, God. All right. Jesus.
All right, Ryan. So I'm a little out of the loop here. I was busy crawling through vents and hacking security cameras, so you got to tell me here. What was your theater experience like when you saw this movie? Because I have a story to tell for mine, too.
All right. Well, this is actually a lot of fun for me. I kind of inadvertently steered clear of watching a lot of the of the trailer stuff for it. Like, I knew it was coming out, but I wanted to go in with as fresh eyes as possible. And then I, at the last minute, decided to do the IMAX ticket, and it was worth the $20, honestly. Just, like, I would have paid that much just to see Mothra by herself in this movie, in all honesty, because I loved all of the monsters, and I think the effects were fantastic, and I got a great seat. But just seeing her spread her wings under the waterfall, like on that gigantic clear-ass screen, or seeing her just burst the clouds away as she is essentially the sun, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So
it's one of the more beautiful giant effects I've seen in a film in quite a while. It was pretty solid stuff.
Like, I actually, like, gasped as it happened. I was just like, oh my god, because I honestly didn't expect it. I thought it was just looking at the sun through the clouds, and I'm like, okay, is he gonna have an epiphany? Oh my god, it's my baby! Oh.
So similar experience here, or at least a similar, like, positive experience to go with here. So, I went to the local theater, Flicks Brewhouse, not a commercial, just I go there quite a bit. And, I had seen trailers before. I think I'd only seen the one trailer, maybe, and I was like, okay, well, we're going to see it anyway, so I'm not going to watch anymore, obviously. But I'll see clips here and there on YouTube, because they'll have the YouTube ads running, or I'll see, like, a image of something that looks really cool. I actually saw the image for, like, the Godzilla with the red glow towards the end of the film somewhere. Yeah, I saw an image of that somewhere. I didn't have any context for it. I'm just like, okay, that looks pretty cool. I'm curious to see what that actually comes into play as. So I was pretty happy when that turned out to be what it was. But as for the actual theater experience, though, so I was in the theater, and I didn't really notice it until the post-credit scene. But the surround sound of this film was fucking crazy. Yeah. So in the post-credit scene, which we could talk about that pretty quick, there's the scene where you see Ghidorah's head, and there's bugs flying around. We were just sitting there talking in the theater, waiting for the scene to pop up, and as the scene was popping up, you could hear the sound of the bugs buzzing around first, and I actually thought there was a bug flying around my ear. That's how good the sound effects were in that scene. Like, I turned around like, where the fuck is this fly? And look at the screen, like, oh fuck, that's what's going on. Okay. Like, I hadn't experienced surround sound in a film quite that good in a while. I guess noticeably that good. Like, every other film I've seen, it's like, oh, okay, it's just big music, big explosions, whatever. This uses a very subtle, small effect to very good use. I really appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. I have that feeling about Kong Skull Island, and it makes more sense that they get to really play with the idea of the surround sound and the ambient noise in that film, because it all takes place in the jungle, and there's stuff happening everywhere. There's millions of life forms around you at all times doing whatever the fuck they're doing. So you get to play with that soundscape a lot. With this particular movie, it's a lot of kind of sterile environments. It's just like man-made places and people talking, and then big monsters fighting. So there isn't really a whole lot of room for subtlety. Mm-hmm. But with the flies and the last in the little post-credit scene, yeah, I think they got to flex a little bit. So I hope to see more of that in the next movie.
I just want to see more of that in films in general. Like, everyone's like, oh, 3D is the big deal. This is the big deal. It's like, guys, you could, like, fucking sell me on these good sound effects if you just, like, commit to using them more often. Like, you could actually make me feel like I'm in the scene if you make the sounds feel like they're all around me and not just, like, big noises everywhere, but, like, just small little things in the background behind me or something, like a little bug or something. Like, you don't need to do much, and it works really well.
You're asking Hollywood to be subtle. That's not really how they do it.
I mean, less is more is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I feel you. I agree, but
Okay. So, do we want to jump into the post-credit scene real quick, or do we want to hit the film up first and then post-credits?
let's hit the film up and then end it up.
Okay. So we'll put that on a bookmark that. So, first big question, Ryan, did you enjoy the human story at all? Were any of the human characters interesting or compelling to you?
I actually really did.
Oh.
I really, really did, honestly. I think that they managed to make a compelling story while also shortening the amount of time that they spent on it. So it was like each scene that we got with them was like condensed, and we got like really good human character beats. Like you have the major emotional arc of story which follows the family, the dad and the mom, and then you have like these fun human interactions with the Monarch team as they get to go about and doing their thing, and as they're all trying to come to grips with the fact that there are fucking titans now in the world and just fucking around here. The different viewpoints that their cultures afford them and how they're able to apply different ways of looking at things to the one problem. Honestly, it's the first human Godzilla film, or first it's like where the human story starts to really approach how much I liked it in Shin Godzilla. Like, because, like, that movie was entirely about, like, humans coming together and putting aside their differences to do the thing. Kong Skull Island also had a fantastic human story, although they had a lot more of it developed to, a lot more time devoted to that, because you only had one real big monster to work with. You had Kong, and how they were interacting with Kong was the big story there. So in Godzilla King of the Monsters, it's a true kaiju film. Like the steak and potatoes of the movie is Godzilla fights all these monsters. And in the little interims, we got a human story that was short, it was sweet, and it got right to the point, and it was also really, really poignant and like really deep at moments. So I really liked it.
I'll play devil's advocate here a little bit. So I left the theater and I was going with Amanda, one of her friends, and her friend's, I guess, boyfriend. I'm not 100% sure of the situation. Anyway, while they were in the bathroom, the boyfriend and I were talking, and he was saying that he found the human characters very, like, not his bag at all, which I get. There's been some similar complaints from other YouTubers I've seen where the human characters are not their, like, cup of tea. Like, they really think they focused a little too much on them, or that at the very least the broken family subplot was a bit much. And while I don't agree 100%, I will say that maybe the core family might have been a bit much. I liked a lot of the other supporting characters enough. Like, none of them really felt like they overtook the film. But I definitely think the back and forth of the, like, broken family, the mom and the dad, going back and forth over the whole situation, that might have been a bit too much. When I understand that the average Godzilla fan is going to want to focus more on the big monster fights, which, for the most part, this film gives you in spades, without question. But I can understand that if you're there for just the monster fights and you're having to sit to this melodrama of this guy, going on about his wife, or the wife going on about how the dad's he doesn't really explain why she even hates the dad. She just doesn't like him at all for whatever reason, or comes off like she doesn't. And I don't know. I just feel like that subplot was a little bit forced into the plot, or into the overarching story, that didn't necessarily need to be there. But Ken Watanabe did great. I think Millie Bobby Brown, with her role, did really good. I think a lot of the supporting characters actually really did good, but I think that might be more me, in my if you get what I'm saying. A lot of the stuff I usually watch, like anime, for instance, I tend to latch on to supporting characters more than the main characters anyway, so maybe that's just me.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. I personally like the melodrama, and I thought it was done well enough that yes, it was heavy when it happened, and like that, like it was front and center when like it was its time to shine, so it wasn't like super subtle. But I thought it was it was condensed to a small enough time frame that it didn't kind of overshadow the movie. Like you never felt like the movie is about this family trying to get their shit together while Godzilla's fighting in the background. You know what I mean? Like the kaiju were absolutely like the main focus of the movie. And what I kind of liken the tension between the mom and the dad is actually, it's kind of like a microcosm of how humanity is reacting to Godzilla, because one of them sees all of the good that it possesses, and the other like is focusing on all of the destruction that was caused by its appearance. And within their kind of struggle, you see how humanity is struggling to really adapt to the new coming situation. So I thought it was a good metaphor for just like humanity in general, and like where Godzilla is going to fit in this new world order.
I could see that. I could see that.
Right. Also, I think both the mom and the dad characters were well developed. Like you could see.
Oh yeah.
You could see how there was a central tragic act that happened, and from there, these two characters diverged into two like opposed and different but really well-formed characters, and how you see the mom kind of took her willingness to save the planet to the extreme and kind of became an eco-terrorist, and the dad was all about, well, you need to fucking kill Godzilla, but he wasn't so hell-bent on it that he couldn't see, like he couldn't do what needed to be done in the moment, and that actually kind of brought him back to this place of acceptance. So I liked it.
I mean, I understand, and I think that as far as these like human characters go, these guys are miles above what we got in stuff like, say, Transformers and whatnot.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say that these are the worst additions to the film, but I definitely think that I side with some of the more hardcore kaiju fans that, hey, make it more kaiju. But I totally get it. I think that
get to the fight. Yeah.
I think for what we got a pretty fair balance,
I mean, like, do you think, like, do you think you didn't get enough, like, fighting? Because, like, these monsters were going nuts. Like, I'm mad at how good Rodan actually came out. Because I honestly, I didn't know much about Rodan except for the fact that he's just a really big pterodactyl. I'm just like, okay, but the design, the edges of his wings being constantly lit like embers, the fact that he's so huge and powerful that just flying past the city damn near destroyed it, and the fact that he's so big yet can move so fucking fast, it was nuts. I was all on board. I'm like, okay, that dude is scary. That dude is real.
I was reading some details on these guys, and apparently he can fly at, like, supersonic speeds. So, like, it was pretty impressive when he was causing that fucking hurricane force winds down there. And just the design of him. So, I guess we should probably jump into that question here. I think it's a little... Oh, actually, no, it's the next one. Which is, which redesign do you think turned out best and which one was worst? Before we actually rank them or anything, I just want to say that I really do appreciate the redesign efforts going on here. So I've seen I haven't seen all the movies of Godzilla, but I've looked at all the different pictures and different clips of the characters in their like original costumes, the rubber costumes, all that stuff. And you have to admit, when you go back, not all of it ages super well. It's a fair assessment. Ghidorah actually looked pretty good in one of the clips we saw for, I think it was his original film, the King Ghidorah movie. But coming back to this, though, damn, they made him look like a fucking giant-ass dragon. Like, they actually... Well, I mean, that's what he is. But, like, it looked like he was there. Like, I think I spoke to one of my friends at the game night we had the other night. But this film gave me the same kind of feelings I remember having when I first saw Jurassic Park. It's not that level. I don't know if this is going to be timeless CGI like what Jurassic Park had. But I got that same feeling of these things are really there, and they look fucking good in that scene right there. And there are so many frames in this film that could be a painting, a picture. They were all really well done. Like, the director and the cinematographer and all the people on board for this project, they had a really good eye for those shots, and they lined them up perfectly almost every time with the monsters in them.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The cinematographers and everybody involved with the visual aspects of this movie, they work their asses off, and you can tell. It's like the level of production is so ridiculously high, especially considering that there were so many monsters on screen at once. Early in the movie, when they're first getting the dad character on board to Monarch so that he can try and save his family, he asked, "How many of these things did you find?" And he said, 17 and counting. I literally said, "Wait, what? 17 monsters?" Guys, that's too much. Are we really gonna do 17 of them? But and I know you don't see like the full 17. I think at most you see like 8.
Let's see. There was like 4 that came up. There was the 4 of the main ones in the movie. Maybe 5 came up. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it's about 8 or 9.
Yeah, about 8 or 9. Yeah, but still, that's a good amount of kaiju, and they all looked really good. And the main 4 that got all the most of the attention in the movie, that got all of the detail, were done stupidly well. They to borrow my good friend John Hammond, they spared no expense. So I absolutely tip my hat off to these guys and to the redesign. So do you want to get to the ranking?
Yeah. So let's discuss. So let's just stick to the main 4 because I don't really have names for the other 4 at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with the worst one. We'll start at the bottom. I would say it's a toss-up to me between Zilla and Mothra, and I'm not hating on Mothra.
What?
I just don't think Mothra's design was that big a leap from what we've already had.
Oh, we're gonna have an argument.
I think they really did a good job making it look really good. I should say, when I say worst, I don't even mean it's bad. I mean more it just doesn't seem like it's as big a leap forward is what I could have seen. But I think Zilla will probably be the bottom one, and it's not even because he's bad. He's very much similar to the legendary design from the previous film. Just a few things are tightened up in certain spots, a few elements are changed here and there, but it's largely the same. So I can't really say that the redesign here is significantly huge. So I would say that's my bottom one for me.
Okay, I can agree with you on Godzilla, because they kept it very close to the original. And again, you are the kaiju buff, and you've seen all of the Godzilla films, so I can't really gainsay you on this. I personally think that King Ghidorah, while looking phenomenal and blows me away by how well they were able to do the design, I would argue that they kept Ghidorah to really very close to the original. They just made it look amazingly realistic. Am I wrong in this? Because he looks exactly like I remember him seeing when I was young.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But the reason I put him probably at my number 2, I could debate 3 for it. I could see him being 3. But the reason I want to put up at 2, there's a couple of factors I want to consider.
Okay.
One, they fit this giant 3-headed dragon into an American film production, looks in place. It looks good. Every little bit of it looks great. The storm clouds around it and everything. There's just a lot of extra stuff they're throwing in to really make him look fearsome and terrifying. Beyond the puppet design we had before.
They also really do a good job of keeping the Asian dragon design concept behind the 3 heads. I don't know how you do actual Asian style dragons and keep them all moving simultaneously, give them a little bit of personality, because it's triplets just kind of fighting with each other for fun and shit. And it looks real. It looks really, really good while remaining true to the original concept.
I actually wanted to jump on that real quick. The personality thing you mentioned. That's what really cinches it for me, though. So you have the 3 heads, and when they first come out, you're like, okay, big 3-headed dragon. And I'm thinking back into the films I've seen before, where they were just 3 heads. They didn't really seem like they had any distinct personality. They were puppets for the most part. But here, it felt like they were each their own individual personality going on. It was actually kind of cool to see them nip at each other and stuff. It reminded me of I'm going to pick a simple example because I know there's something better though. But it reminds me of Dodrio from Pokemon a little bit. All the stories you hear about it fighting each other and everything, that's cool. It actually feels like a real animal when you give it this kind of detail. And I'm on board for this. I'm fully on board for that.
Yeah, all right.
Again,
I
don't
argue,
disrespect Mothra being number 2
3.
for you. I do not disrespect that.
Oh, dude, no, Mothra's number 1 for me.
Oh, Mothra's number 1 for you. Okay.
Mothra's actually number 1 for me. So my list, because we kind of got out of we kind of lost how we were gonna do this, but like my list would stand Godzilla. I would say Godzilla, Rodan, which is, in all honesty, it's that conversation that we just had about Ghidorah that really kind of pushed me over the edge, because you're right, they did put a lot of attention to detail in him, and that was really, really cool. So I would say Rodan would take 3, but he's super close to the number 2 spot, which I will give to Ghidorah. And Mothra, the queen, my baby, my darling, the sun in the sky, yes, the beacon of hope. Yes, Mothra is my number 1.
And I respect that. It's a really good design overall. I just personally think it didn't jump leap and bounds from what I have seen before, but I don't think it's bad by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's really good. But no, so I guess I'll throw it out there then. My number 1 is Rodan, actually. And the reason...
Really?
The reason because I fucking hate Rodan's design from previous films. It just looks so derpy and bad. They did a really good job actually making him look like a terrifying pterodactyl monster. Like, I was super on board for that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well played.
Like, I know that comes out of left field for some people, but, like, Rodan's just never been a design I've been super into, and I'm a big dinosaur guy. So, like, you'd think a pterodactyl would be, like, all on board for me, but, like, the old designs, I'm like, it just looks so cheap and kind of crappy, but like this one actually looks really solid all around. Just the fire tips, the lava inside of his body, like all of it was really well done. I'm super into that. So
I mean, I agree. Rodan was fantastic, no lie. I mean, like when she said he was called the fire demon, because I remember seeing Rodan and it's just like it's a big ass pterodactyl. And I'm like, okay. And it's like I think we call it Rodan, the fire demon, and he comes out of a volcano, and I'm just like, okay, shit, is he gonna like breathe fire? I mean, what the fuck? Or what's he gonna do?
That extra lore really helped me out a little bit too. I'm like, man, you guys are going extra mile with all these characters, giving them a little bit of extra lore to make them feel like they're really part of this world. I really dig what they're doing here.
Oh man, well, like we're gonna get into the actual story of this in a little bit, I hope, and like I will 100% go with you on that too. But like I was a little disappointed when he didn't like breathe fire. But then that disappointment was automatically dropped when he just flies past a city and destroys it. Just because he was near it. And then is flying so fucking fast that he can keep up with jets. And then is doing all of these aerial fucking acrobatics to take out a fighter squadron for the fuck of it. I'm like, bruh, okay, this guy is real. Okay, I retract all of my derogatory statements about him. So yes, I agree. They did Rodan a really good turn on this one.
Yeah, and you could tell the director really gave a shit about him too. Like they even mentioned the fun facts. I totally was listening, and he seemed like he had a soft spot for him. And I totally can see it. Good stuff. Okay, moving on to the next one because that was a longer question I thought it was going to be. Okay, in older Godzilla films, Godzilla is going to be more metaphorical, symbolism stuff. Godzilla represents the United States, a big lumbering powerhouse that brings nuclear power to the war. While other monsters, such, represent other nuclear powers cropping up during the Cold War to fight Godzilla as it protects Japan. So that's a pretty interesting bit of lore diving I found out in regards to older films. So my question to you is, do you think these monsters mean anything in the context of this film? And if so, what could they possibly mean?
Well, so I think rather than make it a nationalist standpoint, this film really takes pains to make it from an ecological, a conservationist standpoint. You know, like they even go with the tried and true eco-terrorism, like humanity is a disease that's destroying the planet, and these big monsters are the fever that the body is releasing to balance it out, and So I feel like the concept of these monsters representing like being from this earth before anybody, and being essentially like the true like natural inhabitants of the planet, and Earth and humanity having to learn how to coexist with them, is really really an environmental standpoint of how humanity has to learn to be better to the Earth. That's where I thought the movie was going.
I can see that being the main crux of it. I'm just trying to think what each monster may represent, but I don't know if they went that far to really go into that level. Because you can see that each of them kind of represent... Well, okay, the two ones that were, like, the bad guys, quote-unquote, kind of represent natural disasters. One being a fuck-off hurricane, one being a volcano. So you kind of make a good case there with the whole, not us versus the environment, but, like, us surviving the environment, basically. With these two natural forces coming out. Godzilla representing maybe, like, the nuclear power we could use to help clean our environment a bit, because there's been many cases people have been debating on what energy type is the best one, but I've seen a lot of people being pro-nuclear power saying it's probably the cleanest and most efficient way to resolve the global energy problem, but that's the discussion for another podcast, probably. I'm not sure where Mothra falls into that necessarily. Maybe like she's like Mother Earth, so to speak, and that she's like giving her good graces for us to fight these like big natural disasters and whatnot, but that might be me stretching a little bit. It's hard to really say for sure.
Yeah, that one I'm not entirely sure. I don't think they were going like that as deep as that, but I like that interpretation.
I dig where I can. Sometimes I hit gold, sometimes I hit an old shoe. We'll see. But yeah, no, I think there's definitely some deeper meaning here. I'd have to probably see it again to really dive into it, or maybe see some other person's like editorial on to see where they kind of come in at. But I think we're hitting the nail on the head a little bit here, or at least pretty close to it. I guess going on to that topic here. So Emma was Emma right to believe that wiping out the human race is what's best for the world? And to follow up with that, what do you think Jonah's real goal is now that she's gone and he's got Ghidorah's head?
Well, so I don't think Emma's goal was ever to wipe out the human race. I think she 100% believed that the Titans were the key to balancing the life on the planet, and to really revitalizing and recovering from the damage that humanity has taken on the planet. Which was why her plan was always to release them one at a time, subsequently, like so that it gave humanity enough time to kind of keep up and like lean into the skid, so to speak. Ghidorah, unfortunately, fucked all of that up because it's an alpha predator, and you let the alpha predator out first, you moron. So Jonah, on the other hand, I think Jonah is...
He might be a full-on terrorist.
Like, I honestly do think he's a full-on terrorist. I think he might hide behind the whole economic, like the whole eco-terrorism bit, just humanity's a disease and blah, 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 blah. I think that's bullshit, though. I think, like, at the end of the day, he's out for himself. Because, like, you also saw that, like, it was mentioned early on that he's been making his money by selling the DNA, biological samples of the kaiju. So once he got his hands on Ghidorah's head, like, I don't think he has any, like, huge plans of grandeur, because remember, it was Emma that sought him out to enact this plan in the first place. I don't think he particularly has any, like, huge plans of grandeur, but it'll be interesting to see what he gets up to with Ghidorah's DNA, since it has been confirmed that Ghidorah is a fucking alien.
Well, so, I'm not super versed in all the lore, but I do know that Ghidorah gets killed multiple times. I mean, most of the kaiju do. But I know he gets killed multiple times. Right. It comes back multiple times. Obviously, if you die multiple times, you know what I mean. And one of the times he comes back is as Mecha Ghidorah. So I could honestly see that being...
Oh, man, yeah, they could do that. Fuck, we could get Mecha Ghidorah.
I'm kind of down for it if they can pull it off well. But I think they need to wait at least a couple films for it. Like, Next year is Con Zilla, so that you got next year covered. I'd say wait until, let's see, that's 2020. So 2022 would be the absolute earliest I would even consider bringing him back.
Yeah.
Give us...
Yeah, I think that's...
Give us other kaiju in the meantime, because you have plenty now. You easily could. But yeah, I would definitely hold off on that. I would wait and just see where things go. Okay. So next up I've got here, was the underwater city we see, or I guess underwater ruins, where we see Godzilla getting recharged by the nuclear energy, was that supposed to be Atlantis? I was a little unclear with that.
I don't think it was supposed to be Atlantis. I think if they have legends about Atlantis in that world, this is where they could have originated.
Okay, that's fair.
But I mean, the concept of there being a civilization of humans that worshipped Godzilla, like I'm really, really interested in that. I'm really, really interested in that city. I want to know how the hell it got miles underneath the Earth's crust. I want to know everything about these ancient humans that actually knew about all of the Titans and lived in harmony with them and had a fairly advanced civilization that was like with all of these massive buildings and all of this art and all of this stuff. And so I was really, 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 really sad when they blew it.
wonder, do you think this is the first time this happened? So this is a theory I have, and I might be way off base here. So what if the society that we're seeing, the ruins of the society, was exactly like this society right now? They were just as advanced as we were. The kaiju woke up, destroyed it all, and everything went back to square one. Society rebuilt to where we are now. So everything got destroyed, everything, and people were wiped out. Think of it as like an extinction level event. And then once the kaiju went back to rest, or got frozen, or whatever the hell, Ice Age, I guess, I don't know. That's when humanity, started to slowly come back, like they did in real life with the Neanderthal, going from there to where we are now. The kaiju, if we're going to go off the timeline, are now awake again. What if this is leading to that same incident where, because like we said earlier, they are a representation of the environment of Mother Nature coming back and taking the world back, and if it's supposed to mimic that idea, what if it's mimicking the Ice Age cycle that's present within actual environmental studies, where after so many millions of years the Earth naturally heats up and then goes into an Ice Age cycle to just restart over again? What if they represent that extinction event at the end of that age of heating up that leads into the Ice Age cycle for the Earth to just reboot?
Interesting. I think I wouldn't. I think it's possible that you could be right, but I would tweak it a little bit, because we know that Godzilla, from his actions now, and the fact that his home base was a temple specifically built to house him and get him radiation, built by human hands, to work with him. We've seen that Godzilla is benevolent towards the other life on the planet. He rules over the kaiju, but he also keeps it in balance for the humans, because he is willing to kind of meet us halfway on that. I think the extinction level event you're talking about could have happened, but I think the extinction level event was Ghidorah.
That would make sense.
Yeah. And then, in the course of the fight and just all of the atmospheric changes, the fucking walking tropical storm that he is, the flying tropical storm that he is, this huge battle ensued, and Godzilla was able to put him down in Antarctica and put him in the ice and sit him down, but the battle pretty much ruined the landscape of the Earth for humans. So an extinction level event, the Earth was able to kind of go along and reboot and heal itself, and all of the kaiju kind of went to sleep during that process. That's how I think.
I want to see, and I know this is going to be a death nail in this series, but I want to see a prequel that dives into the various eras of of this world. I don't.
Man, me too. Because they're making a lot of really interesting lore choices, and it's like this is a very, very interesting universe that they're creating, like both past and future. Because now with the end of it, now with the end of the movie, and Monarch giving out all of their files, and like the world in that universe is now coming to like fast approaching a place where humans actually coexist with the Titans. They know all about them, and now we're seeing what that world looks like 2 years in the future, or a couple other more years into the future. So I want to see both ends of this timeline, in all honesty, because we're leaving how humanity would react today if Godzilla showed up, and we're moving into a level of coexistence that apparently existed in the past, and that's really, really interesting. I want to see both of them.
I should probably reiterate, I don't want to see a single story that takes up the whole 2.5 hours for how the monsters acted back in the day. I'd be super fine with like an anthology that kind of goes over different periods, just showing like how everything went down, even if it's like multiple eras of the monsters coming back and leaving, or just like different side stories in one era. I don't know, but I could see a lot of fun stuff you could do with that. I'm really excited to see if they ever pull that off, because that would be something worth doing, I think.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We discussed Ghidorah return. All right, I got 2 more questions, and then we can talk about the quote-unquote final fight. Okay, first one. This movie drops a lot of name-dropping and references for Kong, especially in the credit sequences leading up to the actual main credits.
Like before you go on, the newspaper article, "What's a king to a god?" just blew my fucking mind. I actually laughed in the theater.
There's actually a rap battle for a YouTube group I follow that kind of asks that same question way back when. It kind of just, it's a good line. I really do like it a lot. Like,
it really is. Like it's a rap song, but it fits a lot of things, and it fits this in particular. I love it.
But yeah, so what are your thoughts on those references? And then furthermore, what do you think the other monsters of the 17 mentioned were, or are we going to see them here in short order?
I don't think the other 17 will be amazingly important, except to like pad out the other like big named monsters. Like in the title, in the credits sequence, or like the sequence right before the credits, when they're going on and constantly mentioning Kong, it's saying that a lot of the new kaiju are making their way to Skull Island under Kong, so it's almost like the world of kaiju are kind of splitting, like with like the old school monsters going with Godzilla and the new school monsters going with Kong. So I think that will possibly be a thing.
Gotcha.
That being said, Godzilla ate a 3-headed dragon from space and exuded so much heat that concrete buildings were melting. I don't know how you make this a fair fight.
So
it's a gorilla. Kong is boss. Don't get me wrong.
So
but,
Nicole
dude,
and I, for another series we tried to start up, and there's some technical issues with it, but whatever. We watched Godzilla vs. King Kong, the original version, way back in the day. And so, obviously it's very different. But King Kong uses a lot of clever tricks to kind of get a edge on Godzilla, or at least make be even out with him. I think for this film, though, I don't know how you're going to do it, because you've established Godzilla as this overpowered monster. Like, I don't know how anyone could compete against that. The only thing I can think of is, one, the King Kong we're going to see is going to be much bigger, obviously. Two, he's going to have some kind of trick up his sleeve. He won't have any powers like radiation or anything, but there's got to be something he can do. And
Ghidorah was literally a fucking living thunderstorm. What do you do with that? Godzilla beat that
I
dude.
suspect what we're going to get is we're going to have these two fighting, but much like Batman v Superman, there's going to be a third party that comes in by the halfway point or towards the end, so they both have to team up together to fight, is my guess.
Mecha Ghidorah.
No, it'd be way too early for that. There's got to be something else going on. I'm sure if I dug through the archives of what all the Godzilla monsters were, I could probably find something that would fit, but I don't know specifically what would fit the bill here. It'd have to be something that would be a threat to both of them without either one of them being unable to do anything against it. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I honestly don't know. I do not know how you make it so that King Kong can actually do shit to Godzilla. I mean, granted, you're right. It's been 30 years in universe since we last saw Kong, so he's going to be super big. We've already established that he's ridiculously strong. We've already established that he's really smart and can utilize tools and weapons to fight his opponents. We've already established this, and that's definitely going to give him an edge. But my man is a walking nuclear reactor. I don't know how you outthink this. The man breathes atomic flame. I don't know what you're gonna do. I just don't know.
There's a YouTuber called Tierzu. I want to see him rank the kaiju in terms of who he thinks has the best chance of survivability. I want to see this. That'd be kind of cool.
Kong can't even get off Stone Island.
He can't
Seriously. Swim. Godzilla traverses the Earth's inner crust to fucking warp speed to anywhere on the planet that he chooses, and then he just gets out of the ocean and is like, all right, let's do the thing. Kong is stuck on one island. What are we even talking about?
Maybe Kong will get the other Kongs to help him out, and they'll be the DK crew.
Stop.
DK.
Stop.
Donkey Kong. He's the leader of the bunch.
God.
You know him well. He's finally back.
Go away, please.
To kick some tail. Okay.
Why are you doing this to me?
Okay. So we're going to open the floor real quick for a brief discussion on the final fight, and then if there's any other points to wrap up, we will do them here. Final fight, Ryan, go. What do you think? Final fight.
Final fight. Oh, jeez. I honestly don't know what to say. The fight was ridiculous. I loved the concept of him essentially revving up a nuclear reactor and then ultimately melting Boston and Ghidorah away. I thought that was really, really cool. I thought the fight, the final fight between the two of them was really, really well done and well choreographed. Mothra showing up like the queen that she is was awesome, and her fight against Rodan was really, really cool. She got to sting him, and it was really good. It was boss. I'm really, really sad that she died.
Well, so Mothra
sad.
dies a lot, and she actually comes back very often. She reincarnates and shit, so she'll be back very easily. No problem.
I believe you. I do believe you. It was just sad to see it.
Absolutely.
It was sad.
Especially because she got that one shot on Rodan and fucking took him out of the fight. She was a trooper.
I love how they gave the kaiju personality. Honestly, these are alien creatures, but you could see Mothra giving Rodan some sass as she stabbed him with her fucking stinger. I was like, go ahead, baby girl. I'm like, it's a giant fucking moth. What am I doing? But I think that goes to the level of design and the level of care that they made in making these creatures, that you gave them such small little quirks that people could read personality from. It makes them much more fun to watch than to just see big creatures fucking up buildings and throwing each other around. It adds to it to add that level of personality. So I really, really liked it. I think it was well done.
I will say that the complete destruction of Boston. So we complained a little bit about city destruction, I think, back when we were doing Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, all that stuff. And there it didn't make sense because you have these heroes who are trying to protect the city, allowing it to just come to ruin. Here, it's kind of amazing to see because what else could possibly happen when you have monsters the size of buildings fighting in a city? Like, I've seen people make these comparisons in the past, of course, but I've seen these comparisons before. I'm like, guys, you're comparing apples to radioactive oranges. There's completely different things. Please stop it. Just stop. But no, just the level of destruction and the sheer amount of power on display here was absolutely fascinating. Like, I didn't expect Godzilla to have that nuclear power, bomb explosion power at the very end like he did. I wasn't sure what to expect. I was praying that they were going to do the Shin Godzilla thing where lasers just come out of all of his little orifices and just see what happens.
Oh my god.
I don't think they'll ever do that again. But that was really good.
That was too powerful. Like, you'll never see that outside of Japan.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I was reading something the other day, and this is going to relate back to Shin Godzilla real quick. I didn't know this when we were doing the podcast, and I fucking hate myself that I didn't catch this. The director we talked about for that movie, he's the same guy who did fucking what's the series again? The mech show, the mech anime. I can't remember what it's called. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Yeah, that's the guy who directed it. Same guy who made that.
Fucking Hidei.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, I didn't think about it when I read the name, and then when I saw an article talking about it, I'm like, fuck, how did I miss that?
Yeah, wow, oh my god, yeah.
It explains so much about that, why that movie turned out the way it did too.
Yeah. I had no idea. Wow. Okay. Yeah. If he did Shin Godzilla, then yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I just wanted to share that with you because I'm like, oh man, I fucking had a revelation. I figured you might want to know about it too.
I love it. Oh my god. Thanks for letting me know that.
But yeah, no, I was hoping for some Shin Godzilla lasers here. I knew we weren't going to get him, but I'm like, man, that was really cool. Can we just bring him back? That was awesome.
They were too powerful.
They really were.
They were too powerful.
I think the fight ending, though, where all of the monsters are bowing to Godzilla, sets up a really interesting hook for the next movie, which is, now that he's the boss of all the monsters, what state is the world going to be in when we see it next? And I'm really excited to see where they take that concept.
Yeah, I mean, I like the kind of the info dump that they were giving at the end, and how it's like you're seeing time pass just kind of at a rapid state with all of the newspaper articles and things like that, and how like people are actually starting to coexist, and humanity's finding a lot of ways and benefits that like living alongside the kaiju are having, and like how like kaiju waste could be a new like source of energy fuel, like energy or whatnot, or how in the passing of kaiju, the Earth's flora system is really revitalizing and whatnot. It goes back to all the points that Emma was making about why she needs to release all of the kaiju, and it turns out she was actually right. It doesn't mean that humanity needs to end. It means that the resurgence of the kaiju will definitely help the planet recover, and if we learn to live alongside them, we will be taken to a new age. And I think you're starting to see that with that. So I'm very excited to see like where society is in the next movie after a couple of years of living alongside.
Absolutely,
kaiju.
Absolutely. I would say that I'm looking forward to ranking this movie here in a minute. But before we do that, is there anything else we need to discuss before we move on?
No, I think that's
all right.
it.
Well, before we get to the ranking of the film, let's do a quick round of our mailbag. By letting everyone know you can contact us at various locations. You can go to Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, all the normal places. Tell us what kaiju you like the best, what you want to see from the future Godzilla films. I don't remember how good the movie did in box office. I should probably look it up while we're talking. But I will say that I hope this movie does well, and I really hope that enough people went to see it for a sequel to get greenlit. I'm pretty sure that they have already planned out a lot of the stuff that it'll probably happen, but I'm very curious to see what they do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like, as much as I was going out of my way to avoid like trailers and whatnot, I don't think there was a whole bunch of marketing.
It was a very
movie.
light marketing effort, and I don't know if that was intentional.
Yeah, I feel like it was light. Yeah, I like it. Like, it's possible they may have been hedging their bets, but I mean, they put a lot of money and a lot of effort into this movie, and this movie really shines. If the box office numbers are low simply because a whole bunch of people didn't know it was happening, it would be super disappointing. I honestly hope it does well because this movie deserves.
Well, I'm looking at numbers now,
honestly.
and I know we're still in mailbag here, but give me a minute here. So I look at numbers now. Opening weekend, it made $47 million locally, domestic, but worldwide, right now, it sits at $181 million, which is just a little over its budget, which isn't bad, especially since it's only been like a couple weeks. So it has a chance to really, it still has a chance to profit pretty strongly. So I'm excited to see what it does. Overseas, it's doing gangbusters, so I'm hoping it continues that trend.
Yes.
And Ryan, if they want to email us directly to tell us what they think about the movie, whether they're from here in America, they probably didn't see it, or all around the world, they probably did see it, where could they send that email to?
They can send that email to our Lord and Savior, Queen Mothra. Sorry, excuse me. No religion on the podcast. They can email that to evacstation@gmail.com.
All right, awesome. Let's rank the film real quick, and then we could probably head out of here without any other interruptions possibly happening.
Yeah, we probably really should do that. So in regards to the movies to the movies that we've been doing for this series, I mean, it definitely stands out like high for me. I think it definitely surpasses the original Godzilla from 2014. Not throwing any shade on that movie, but they learned what worked and what didn't from that movie.
They went all over the place.
Yeah, you can tell they learned lessons from that movie, and they knocked it the fuck out of the park in the sequel. So I think it definitely goes past that. I also think it surpasses Kong for me. Simply because of the interactions of monsters. Like, you got a whole bunch of you got a bunch of smaller monsters in Kong, and then you got Kong, which was also like really well done. But you got a lot of human story in Kong, and it was really, really well done. But in terms of a kaiju film, like, I think that this one also steps it up. My trouble
Final Wars.
here. No, not Final Wars. No, I blocked Final Wars out of my mind. Matrix fights and kaiju.
Katana Stalin is sad now.
Katana Stalin. No, my issue is comparing it to Shin Godzilla.
That's a tough call.
Because I absolutely love this movie as a kaiju film. But I think Shin Godzilla does a really good job of showing how strong humanity can be if it comes together, and like when it shows everybody coming together and owning up and actually going against this natural disaster, alongside the general design of Shin Godzilla, the fucking laser light show on his back that was just bogus as hell, but I loved it. I think Shin Godzilla is a better human movie, and I think King of Monsters is a better kaiju movie.
I can see that.
So I don't know how to rank that.
Well, I think, didn't we rank Shin Godzilla as a gold movie? Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it could probably be a gold as well if you wanted to shoot that way. If you wanted to make it a step lower, silver would probably be fair too. I think this movie.
I don't think it was worse. I think it was
as good.
I think it was just as good, but different. Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a gold. I'm definitely gonna give it a gold. Yeah, I'm gonna
say gold as well. I think it is gonna be the gold standard for at least how Americans can handle Godzilla films going forward.
Yeah, they really stepped up their game. Like I hope we did Japan proud.
Dude, I saw a video the other day going over the behind the scenes disaster of why the '98 film failed so hard. We have to cover that in a future episode someday because, good lord, there's a story behind that one. And it's entertaining, and obviously, from the minute you know when things are going bad, you're like, oh, this is gonna go to hell real fast. But yeah, no, I'm on board with you. I think Gold is a very solid film. Like I said, gold standard for how Americans can handle it. I think it's definitely different than Shin Godzilla, and I think if we could see more Shin Godzilla, I would be willing to see how that stacks up, because I think it can only get... Okay, it could get worse, sure. But I feel like if you have the director come back, and you have a good writing team behind it, I could only see it getting more interesting from there. So...
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we should wrap up, Ryan. Wait. Someone's coming in. Hang on. Let me finish this mutagen here real quick.
You've been stirring that for the longest fucking time, dude.
I know. The melting stick is melted. So I guess we'll have to drink it up here real quick.
Shit.
Oi, I'm back. Your little friend escaped. Can't take any more flight risks, so I'm gonna kill... How'd he get here? What the hell is all this thing?
Aaron, he's back! That mutagen ready yet?
Yeah. Drink it up, man. Oh, you two can't escape. That little Banjo Jordan is here, mate.
Now what?
Dude, fucking blast him.
Holy shit, we did it! We can finally get out!
Yep, those sound effects really helped us out there. Let's go back home, and we have some X-Men to record, man.
Well, thank you all for joining me on this ridiculous fucking journey. We will see you after the credits.
Bye!